Hello, everybody. This is my video about the 1986 MLB replay via the Strat-O-Matic baseball board game. This is the second part of my week 4, naming it week 4.2. And just to get you guys up to snuff, the current division leaders as of April 30th. In the American League East, the New York Yankees are 13-8. They lead by 2.5 games. In the Central, Kansas City Royals at 11-9. They lead by a half a game. In the West is the Texas Rangers. They're 13-7, and they lead by a game and a half. In the National League, in the East, the New York Mets are 13-4, and they lead by 2.5 games. Central, Cincinnati Reds at 7-9. They lead by 1 game. And in the West, the Los Angeles Dodgers are 14-6 and lead by 2.5 games. So these are your leaders and how many games they are in first place by. We have May 1st to the 4th, and that will end week 4. Let's see that if any of these guys are still in first after the next couple days. So let's get right into it. Thursday, May 1st. New York Mets at the Atlanta Braves. The Atlanta comes up short in the loss, 4-3. Seattle Mariners at the Boston Red Sox. The M's beat the Sox with bats, 9-7. Chicago Cubs at the Los Angeles Dodgers. Second baseman for the Cubs, Ryan Sandberg, goes on the 5-game DL. He expects to return next week around the 9th against the Padres in this shellacking by the Dodgers, 12-1. Oakland Athletics at the Milwaukee Brewers. The A's are too much for the Brew Crew and win 3-1. Minnesota Twins at the New York Yankees. The Yanks sneak past the Twins 2-1. The St. Louis Cardinals at the San Diego Padres. St. Louis beats San Diego again, 5-4. Pittsburgh Pirates at the San Francisco Giants. San Fran splits with the Pirates, 4-3. California Angels at the Toronto Blue Jays. Rookie first baseman Wally Joyner goes 5 for 5 with 5 singles, along with starting pitcher Kurt McCaskill, 2 hitting the Jays, 10-0. Friday, May 2nd, Oakland Athletics at the Boston Red Sox. Red Sox crush the A's 16-1. Cleveland Indians at the Chicago White Sox. Cleveland rookie Corey Schneider is called up earlier than expected for injury-ridden Tribe in win 6-0. New York Mets at the Cincinnati Reds. Reds cool down the Mets bats 6-4. Minnesota Twins at the Detroit Tigers. Detroit starting pitcher Jack Morris shuts out Minnesota 6-0. Baltimore Orioles at the Kansas City Royals. Baltimore squeaks past Kansas City 6-5. St. Louis Cardinals at the Los Angeles Dodgers. LA stays hot in May, 7-5. California Angels at the Milwaukee Brewers. Outfielder for California, Gary Pettis returns in loss, 5-1. Houston Astros at Montreal Expos. Montreal starting pitcher Jay Tibbs outduels Houston's Nolan Ryan 1-0. Texas Rangers at the New York Yankees. Texas wins first game between AL Best 7-0. Atlanta Braves at the Philadelphia Phillies. Philly lets Atlanta slip through their fingers, 7-5. Pittsburgh Pirates at San Diego Padres. Pittsburgh starting pitcher Rick Rhoden outpitches San Diego's Lamar Hoyt 4-3. Chicago Cubs at the San Francisco Giants. Giants starting pitcher Vida Blue, strong start, carries them to a 4-3 victory. Seattle Mariners at Toronto Blue Jays. Blue Jays earn the first win of the month, 6-3. Saturday, May 3rd, the Oakland Athletics at the Boston Red Sox. The Bo Sox stay hot in W, or with the W, 6-2. Cleveland Indians at Chicago White Sox. Chicago's DH Ron Kittle runs off the Tribe 12-4. New York Mets at Cincinnati Reds. Mets and outfielder Mookie Wilson slam the Reds, and Keith Hernandez goes 5 for 5 in 17-2 drubbing. Minnesota Twins at the Detroit Tigers. Starting pitcher for Minnesota, John Butcher, pitches the Twins to a victory, 6-3. Baltimore Orioles at the Kansas City Royals. Starting pitcher Charlie Leibrandt for the Royals is a master of the Orioles, 4-1. St. Louis Cardinals at the Los Angeles Dodgers. St. Louis wins 5-0, but starting pitcher for the Dodgers, Fernando Valenzuela, has to leave the start and heads to the DL for 8 games. He's expected to return in 2 weeks, around the 14th, versus St. Louis. At St. Louis. Will miss probably 1 start. California Angels at the Milwaukee Brewers. California wins, but Gary Pettis' 18-game hit streak ends in California's 3-2 win. Houston Astros at the Montreal Expos. Starting pitcher for the Astros, Mike Scott, collects yet another shutout, 6-0. Texas Rangers at the New York Yankees. Texas clear favorites in the AL after win, 7-1. Atlanta Braves at Philadelphia Phillies. Philly loses the game, and third baseman Mike Schmidt heads back to the DL for 7 games. He's expected return in 2 weeks, roughly around the 12th, versus the Houston Astros. Pittsburgh Pirates at the San Diego Padres. Padres, Mark Thuman spot starts and shines in victory 4-1. Chicago Cubs at the San Francisco Giants. Chicago shuffles the lineup and wakes the bats in victory 12-5. Seattle Mariners at the Toronto Blue Jays. Blue Jays bats surge in M's beatdown 11-1. Sunday, May 4th. Oakland Athletics at the Boston Red Sox. Boston comes from behind to force extras and win 5-4. Cleveland Indians at the Chicago White Sox. Cleveland lineup is back on track in the win 12-6. New York Mets at the Cincinnati Reds. Outfielder Darryl Strawberry for the Mets hits 3 home runs in 3 straight at-bats in the Mets' victory 12-2. Minnesota Twins at the Detroit Tigers. Minnesota wins, but Minnesota's outfielder Kirby Puckett heads back to the DL for 5 games. He's expected to return next week around the 9th versus the Tigers. Baltimore at Kansas City. Orioles tee off on Royals starting pitcher Dennis Leonard 12-2. St. Louis Cardinals at the Los Angeles Dodgers. Dodgers starter pitcher Bob Welch rolls in win 6-3. California Angels at Milwaukee Brewers. Outfielder for the Angels, Gary Pettis, starts new streak with slam in win 5-3. Houston Astros at the Montreal Expos. Montreal wins, but Montreal's outfielder Tim Raines heads to the DL for 6 games. He's expected to return in about 2 weeks, around the 12th, versus the Reds. Montreal 3-2. Texas Rangers at the New York Yankees. Texas sweeps New York in the battle of the AL Best 4-0. Atlanta Braves at the Philadelphia Phillies. Phillies starter Kevin Gross has his best start in win 3-2. Pittsburgh Pirates at the San Diego Padres. Starting pitcher Eric Shaw can't stop Pirates 4-1. Chicago Cubs at the San Francisco Giants in a day-night doubleheader. Giants win in extras 3-2, but rookie first baseman Will Clark heads back to the DL for 5 games. His expected return next week around the 10th versus St. Louis. In the second game of the day-night doubleheader, Giants sweep with a 5-4 victory over the Cubs. Seattle Mariners at the Toronto Blue Jays. The Jays sweep the M's 5-4 for the final game of this week. So, the Week 4 summary after these 2 videos. The top teams for the week: Texas Rangers were 4-1. New York Mets are 4-2. Toronto Blue Jays are 4-2. Los Angeles Dodgers were 5-2. San Francisco Giants were 5-3. And the not so top teams of the week: St. Louis Cardinals were 2-4. Detroit Tigers were 2-4. Cincinnati Reds were 2 and 3. Pittsburgh Pirates are 3 and 4. And the San Diego Padres were also 3 and 4. Again, I showed the standings in the last video all the way up to the end of April. Currently, there is no standings or statistics until next week's games are due. Again, I had a running total, and I'm catching myself up to where I'm currently at. So one more video, and I should be able to put standings and statistics out there for everybody to see. But for now, the American League division leaders after the end of this week. In the East, it's the New York Yankees at 14 and 11. And in the Central, it's the Kansas City Royals at 12 and 11. And in the West, it's the Texas Rangers at 16 and 7. For the National League division leaders, in the East, it's the New York Mets at 16 and 5. The Central is Cincinnati Reds at 8 and 11. And the West is the Los Angeles Dodgers at 17 and 7. This was a quick video to get you caught up to date and to end week 4 from April 28th through May 4th. The next video will be posted soon, and that will be start week 5 from May 5th through May 11th. So again, as always, I appreciate you following along. Hopefully your teams and or team that you're following is doing good. Have a great night. And as always, play ball.